Good day everyone, and welcome to my recording. Today I will be reading Chapter 3 of Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, which is currently in the public domain. Whether you're winding down for the night, or just hoping for a moment's relaxation, I hope you enjoy. Also, please subscribe to my channel and like my video, it would help me greatly. Chapter 3. A week at least, said I.
Thunder, he cried. A week? I can't do that. They'd have the black spot on me by then. The lubbers are going about to get the wind of me this blessed moment. The lubbers could keep what they got, and have the mind to take what is ours. Is that seemingly behaviour now? I want to know. But I'm a saving soul. I never wasted good money of mine, nor lost it neither, and I'll trick him again. I'm not afraid of him.
As he was speaking, he had risen from the bed with great difficulty, holding on to my shoulder with a grip that almost made me cry out, and moving his legs like so much dead weight. His words, spirited as they were in meaning, contrasted sadly with the weakness of his voice in which they were uttered. He paused when he had got into the sitting room on the edge.
That doctor's done me,
he murmured.
Me ears singing. Lay me back.
Before I could do much to help him, he had fallen back against his former place, where he lay for a while silent.
Jim,
he said at length,
you saw that seafaring man today.
Black Dog? I asked.
Black Dog, says he. He's a bad un, but there's worse that put him on. Now if I can get away nohow, and they tip me the black spot, mind you, it's me old sea chest they're after, and go to that eternal Dr. Swab, tell him to pipe all hands, magistrates and such, and he'll lay him aboard the Admiral Benbow, on old Flint's crew, man and boy, all of them that's left. I was old Flint's first mate, and I'm the only one that knows the place. He gave it to me at Savannah, when he lay dying, like as I am now, you see. But you won't go unless they get the black spot on me, or unless you see that Black Dog again, or a seafaring man with one leg, Jim. Him above all.
But what's the black spot, Captain? I asked.
That's a summons, mate. I'll tell you if they get that. But if you keep your weather eye open, Jim, and I'll share with you equals, upon my honour.
He wandered a little longer, his voice growing weaker. But soon after I had given him his medicine, which he took like a child, he then fell at last into a heavy sleep in which I left him. What I should have done, had all gone well, I do not know. Probably I should have gone and told the whole story to the doctor, for I was in mortal fear lest the captain should repent of his confessions and make an end of me. But as things fell out, my poor father died quite suddenly that evening, which put all other matters aside. Our natural distress, the visits of the neighbours, the arranging of the funeral, and all the works of the inn to be carried out in the meanwhile, kept me so busy that I had scarcely time to think of the captain, far less to be afraid of him. He got downstairs next morning and had his meals as usual, though he ate little and had more, I'm afraid, than his usual supply of rum, for he helped himself out from the bar, scowling and blowing through his nose, and no one dared to cross him. On the night before the funeral he was as drunk as ever, and it was shocking, in that house of mourning, to hear him singing away at his ugly old sea song. But weak as he was, we were all in fear of death for him. The doctor was suddenly taken up with the case many miles away, and was never near the house after my father's death. I have said the captain was weak, and indeed he seemed to grow rather weaker than regain his strength. He clambered up and down stairs, and he went from the parlour to the bar and back again, and sometimes put his nose out the door to smell the sea, holding on to the walls as he went on for support, breathing hard and fast like a man on a steep mountain. He never particularly addressed me, and it is my belief he had as good as forgotten the secrets he shared with me. But his temper was more flighty, and allowing for his bodily weakness more violent than ever. He had an alarming way now, when he was drunk, of drawing his cutlass and laying it bare upon the table. But with all that, he minded people less, and seemed shut up in his own thoughts. Once, for instance, to our extreme wonder, he piped up to a different air a king of country love song that he must have learnt in his youth before he had begun to follow the sea. So things passed, until the day after the funeral, and about 3 o'clock of a bitter, foggy, frosty afternoon, I was standing at the door for a moment, full of sad thoughts about my father, when I saw someone drawing slowly near along the road. He was plainly blind. I tapped before him with a stick, and wore a great green shade over his eyes and nose, and he was hunched, as if with age and weakness, and he wore a huge old tattered sea cloak with a hood that made him appear positively deformed. I never saw in my life a more dreadful looking figure. He stopped a little from the inn, and raising his voice in an odd sing-song, addressed the air in front of him.
Will any kind friend inform the poor blind man who's lost the precious sight of his eyes in the gracious defence of his native country, England? Where or in what part of the country may he now be?
You're at the Admiral Benbow, Black Hill Cove, my good man, said I.
I hear a voice,
said he,
a young voice. Will you give me my hand, my kind young friend, and lead me in?
I held out my hand, and the horrible, soft-spoken, eyeless creature gripped it in a moment like a vice. I was so much startled that I struggled to withdraw, but the blind man pulled me up close to him with a single action of his arm.
Now, boy, take me in to the captain.
Sir, said I, upon my word I dare not.
Oh,
he sneered.
That's it. Take me in straight or I'll break your arm.
And he gave it a wrench that made me cry out. Sir, I said, it is for yourself I mean. The captain is not what he used to be. He sits with drawn cutlass. Another gentleman.
Come now, march,
interrupted he. I never heard a voice so cruel and cold and ugly as that blind man's. It cowed me more than the pain, and I began to obey him at once, walking straight in at the door and towards the parlour, where our sick old buccaneer was sitting, dazed with rum. The blind man clung close to me, holding me in one iron fist and leaning almost more of his weight on me than I could carry.
Lead me straight up to him, and when I'm in view, cry out, "Here's a friend of yours, Bill." If you don't, I'll do this.
And with that he gave me a twitch that I thought would have made me faint. Between this and that I was so utterly terrified of the blind beggar that I forgot my terror of the captain, and as I opened the parlour door I cried out the words that he had ordered in a trembling voice. The poor captain raised his eyes, and at one look the rum went out of him, and left him staring sober. The expression of his face was not so much of terror as of mortal sickness. He made a movement to rise, but I do not believe that he had enough force left in his body.
Now, Bill, sit where you are,
said the beggar.
If I can see, I can hear a finger stirring. Business is business. Hold out your left hand. Boy, take his left hand by the wrist and bring it near my right.
We both obeyed him to the letter. I saw him pass something from the hollow of his left hand, then held his stick into the palm of the captain, which closed upon it instantly.
And now that's done,
said the blind man. And at that word he suddenly let go of me, and with incredible accuracy and nimbleness skipped out of the parlour into the road, where, as I stood motionless, I could hear his stick go tap, tap, tapping into the distance. It was some time before either I or the captain seemed to gather our senses, but at length, and at about the same moment, I released his wrist, which I was still holding, and he drew in his hand and looked sharply into the palm.
10 o'clock,
he cried.
6 hours, we'll do them yet.
And he sprang to his feet. Even as he did so, he reeled, put his hand to his throat, stood swaying for a moment, and then with a peculiar sound fell from his whole height, face foremost onto the floor. I ran to him at once, calling my mother, but haste was all in vain, The captain had been struck dead by thundering apoplexy. It is a curious thing to understand, for I had certainly never liked the man, though of late I had begun to pity him. As soon as I saw he was dead, I burst into a flood of tears. It was the second death I had known, and the sorrow of the first was still fresh in my heart. Thanks for listening, guys. If there are any other public domain novels you'd be interested in hearing, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with future recordings. See you next time.